Hey guys, so after reading World War II, I think I can officially say that this is the worst sequel I have ever read. Not only did it completely ruin the impact of World War I's ending, the Great War to end all wars, but it was a sequel no one asked for. They tried to connect the books by having a minor character from the first play a major role as the antagonist in the second, but it just came off contrived. I mean, you're telling me that I'm supposed to believe that the people of Germany would just elect what is essentially a supervillain? Yeah, I don't think so. Not to mention there's just too much going on, and it shows in the writing. The author took on way too much trying to have so many major points of focus. I mean, you have Europe, which is really just reused from World War I, Japan, which is interesting, but they literally end it in the most anticlimactic way possible. I'll talk about that later. And the US, which they only focus on for like half a chapter. I mean, there's also Africa, but that was so forgotten about by the end that I'm pretty sure whoever wrote this just forgot that that plot point existed. I'm not going to touch much on Europe since it's basically just the first book, but rehashed and with communism. Talk about a generic, they had good intentions but are evil cliche. What I really want to focus on is Japan. There was so much wasted potential here. I mean, the author created this powerful and interesting protagonist to challenge the US, which was a super underutilized faction in the first book, but they fumbled it completely. The beginning is fine, but after chapter 44, it just goes way downhill. Japan at this point has basically been defeated by the main cast, but instead of giving them a satisfying conclusion of a big battle, like a final battle, or them surrendering, they nuke them. Not only did this come out of left field, but it ruined the immersion for me. If the US had this secret weapon the whole time, why not just revolve the plot around that? A plot where Japan and the US are racing to get a hold of this ultimate weapon would have been way more interesting. Instead, they pull it from nowhere in the last few chapters and decimate Japan. Now, this might have been satisfying as a conclusion that Japan was already practically obliterated, but the author literally spent an entire chapter describing how destroyed Japan was by this point, meaning that when they got nuked, it was just whatever. They'd already lost, and I'd already lost my interest in the book by this point. Nuking them did nothing to the plot. It added to nothing. And I think a lot of fans had a similar reaction, because while World War II came out almost immediately after the success of the first novel, it's been forever now and there's still no word of a World War III sequel. So yeah, 3 out of 10. Would not recommend.